Hi there, middle of the week, and it's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani. Debbie was traveling yesterday and now is just rocking it at Annunciation Radio with all the rest of the staff and the volunteers and the guests during their spring pledge drive, and she's back on the show today. Debbie, we missed you. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I missed you guys too, and I listened to the show last night. It was fabulous. It was so great to hear all of our Canadian listeners and hear about just what's happening with the Catholic Church in Canada. It was an exciting show. But I missed it. I really felt like I felt like I was eavesdropping or something. I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. But you're right, Jerry. I made it safely to Toledo, Ohio, to Annunciation Radio's Spring Share-a-thon. This is the second day, and it is just booming, and it's great to hear the callers. And we've got a lot of our Take Two listeners at the family that are coming into the studio to say hi, and they all say hi, Jerry. And Bernadette, she pledged, and she said she loves the show, Take Two. And so, Bernadette, we just love you again. I thanked her a million times. I said she's our new BFF, best friend. Forever.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I was gave me the occasion yesterday to mention to our listeners again, it is Pledge Drive season, and of all the Catholic radio listeners, Debbie, I know you would join me in saying we can count on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie listeners to be generous to their local radio station.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The love they have for Catholic radio, EWTN, for Mother Angelica. I mean, it's so inspiring, and it just keeps us going, Jerry. So yes, please support your local Catholic radio station. Please make sure EWTN is taken care of, and we can keep it going strong into the future. But I'm glad to be back, and I am totally excited about this topic that we're doing today, Jerry, where it says, I think you titled it, "I didn't know you're Catholic." You know how many times I've said that to people?
Well, we want to hear about one of those, and I've got my own very, very, it's really a beautiful, beautiful account of when I learned someone that I knew was Catholic and I hadn't known it before. So, dear friends, that's the question today. Was there a moment in your life, a time when you discovered that maybe somebody that you work with, or you work out with at the gym, or just somebody that you know through some means, whatever means that is, and you weren't aware that they were Catholic, and then all of a sudden you got into a conversation, and it came up, and you realized that each other was Catholic, and you didn't know that before. And Debbie, that has such a way, I think, of deepening a relationship, even a relationship that's already well established. We're close to somebody, but then we find this out, and it can really take it to another level. So that's what we want to hear from people about today.
That is so true, Jerry, because it instantly there's a kinship that happens. And by the way, I just want to let you know, if you hear this high-pitched humming sound through the radio, that's actually the vacuum cleaner outside of the hotel that I'm in trying to do.
Because I just took my headphones off to see if it was in my house?
I did. I saw it, and then I listened, and I said, oh, my goodness, they've got the highest-powered vacuum cleaner. But that's good. It's very clean. It's a wonderful Holiday Inn in Maumee, Ohio, and they've been so gracious to let me hardwire connect so we could do the show. But like I said, they are vacuuming, and I don't have the heart to knock on the door and say, can you guys stop for an hour? Because they're probably on a schedule as well. But, Jerry, an instant kinship, I think, develops when you find out somebody shares your same faith and believes the way you believe. But also, too, I just want to say, we always take a second look at things. I can recall there have been times where I've had encounters with people that aren't so positive. They're not it's not a positive experience. And all of a sudden I find out they're Catholic, and I'm thinking, okay, this is not really how a Catholic should act. So it actually could go the other way as well, to be kind of shocking in a way. And so we want to hear from you. Jerry said it. You said it so beautifully, Jerry, yesterday on the show. This is your show. You drive the show, dear listeners. So please call in 1-800-585-9396, whatever angle you want to take this on. If you want to say, wow, it's so exciting that you're Catholic. We instantly bond over it. We connect over it. Or maybe, you're Catholic? Wow, that's a shocker.
That's right, 1-800-585-9396. It's a pretty good bet that most of us in our life are going to have that aha moment when someone maybe we've known, worked with, lived down the street from for many, many years just didn't know that they were Catholic, and all of a sudden you find that out, and then you've got that even more common ground to stand on and build that relationship. 1-800-585-9396. I have, I think, a really neat account of that, but I wanted to, if you had one, Debbie, I was going to let you go first.
No. I really want to hear yours because it sounds like it's pretty fascinating.
Well, many people know I spent some time in formation for the priesthood, and during my second year of theology, I went to St. Charles Borromeo Seminary in Philadelphia, and some dioceses send their men to different seminaries, and so some of the guys from Peoria, Illinois, were there with me at St. Charles. And I remember I was in a conversation one time, and they were talking about some of their DBs, they call them, diocesan brothers, who were going to the Mount St. Mary's in Emmitsburg, Maryland. And one of them happened to mention someone by the name of Bailey Clemens. And I went, wow. I mean, that's not your everyday household name. I mean, it's possible there are more Bailey Clemens in the world, but I went to broadcasting school with a guy named Bailey Clemens. And we were friends in broadcasting school, hit it off, hung out together and all this, but neither of us knew the other was Catholic, and I'm afraid to say it's probably because neither of us was really living like Catholics at the time, going to church or anything. So I inquired a little bit more about him. Sure enough, he was from Oregon, and it turned out it was him, and we got reconnected. He's a priest now, thanks be to God.
Oh, get out of here. Really?
Yeah, he's a priest.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, we knew each other, went to broadcasting school, kind of stayed in touch for a while, but then lost contact for many years, probably about 15 years. And then all of a sudden, I hear his name mentioned at the seminary, and I say, that's got to be him. And it was. And it really did, Debbie. It was like we got not only just kind of reconnected, but reconnected at a very deep and really spiritual level. And we still, to this day, stay in very close touch.
Yeah, you bonded. That's awesome. But how interesting is that? But I think you summed it up really well where you said, you maybe weren't exactly living out your faith in a public way when you two were in broadcasting school. But did you ever in broadcasting school, did you ever ask anybody else what their faith was?
I doubt it because I don't think I was practicing my faith at the time. I was 18,
gotcha.
18 years old, and just big, huge, wide eyes, thinking of all the glory and the bright lights of my future broadcasting career that never happened. I mean, I've had a broadcasting career, but not with the wealth and the fame and the riches and all of that.
But this is much better, Jerry. You're
absolutely.
scoring brownie points in heaven.
Oh, may it be so. May it be so.
It's worth way more. Well, that's interesting. That is really interesting. Well, dear listeners, we want to hear from you. When you found out that person that you work with or that you encounter in your neighborhood or in your school, you all of a sudden find out that they're Catholic. How does that change the relationship? Maybe it deepens it rather quickly in a great and profound way like Jerry just shared. Or maybe it's on the flip side of it. Maybe it changed the relationship immediately. You thought, wow, that's interesting. So we want to hear from you. 1-800-585-9396. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're both back. We're together again. Well, by Skype. Well, close enough. This is your show. We'll be right back.
We've been meditating on the divinity of Christ and what it means to us. And there's a remarkable statement here in St. John's Gospel. I've been meditating on this one all my life. And Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him, "If you continue on in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free." The truth will make you free. Some of you know that I studied psychology for many years, and I have a degree from Columbia. I appreciated what I was taught, and I was taught by very good people, A number of them unbelievers, but they were always kind and respectful to my belief. No complaints. But I felt sorry because I wondered where we were going. We were untying knots in people's personalities. We were using medications and therapy to reduce people's pathology and anxiety and confusion. All good things. But we did not know where we were going. Because Christ frees us from sin, not just the actions of sin or the deeds of sin. That's what people usually think he means. But the attitudes of sin, the untruths which color the lives of us all. And Jesus promised us the truth in his parables, in his holy teaching, and in the teachings that would grow after his teachings, in the rest of the New Testament, and in the tradition of the church. Americans hardly know what truth is because we see too much advertising and the news is manufactured by the media. But Jesus' statement is still true. Seek the truth, and the truth will make you free.
Hello, this is Bishop Robert Baker from the Diocese of Birmingham in Alabama.
I'm Peggy Normandin, but you can call me Catholic.
Hello, friends. This is Father Wade Menezes of the Fathers of Mercy. A very blessed and happy Lent from all of us here at the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
It's your show. You drive it with your takes. Want to hear from you today. Jerry Usher, Debbie Georgianni. It's Take Two on EWTN Radio. And have you ever had a time in your life when maybe you knew someone for a long time and didn't know that he or she was Catholic, and all of a sudden that came up and you discovered that? And how did that make you feel? How did that perhaps transform that relationship? 1-800-585-9396. I'd love, Debbie, to hear from somebody who maybe there's someone listening who really was attracted to someone of the opposite sex, thinking, boy, I'd really like to date that person, but I really only want to date someone who's Catholic. And then they find out they're Catholic and they go, wow. Well, that's really cool. Maybe a guy thinking about asking a girl out or something, and then maybe they went on to get married. Who knows? Wouldn't that be a cool story?
Did you by any chance watch the the sequel to My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the second one?
I didn't. I saw the first one, though.
Okay, it was really cute. The daughter of the gal in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, when she found out that the boy that she was going to prom with, he's Greek as well. She didn't know. They were in school together. And he said, oh, yeah, my family's big and loud. And then he goes, my family's Greek. And her face was so cute because she kind of turns to the camera like, he's Greek. So I met somebody else. It was really cute. You have to watch it. Those of you who've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But I totally can understand that, Jerry, that all of a sudden when you realize somebody is, there's that instant connection. Which is very, very true. By the way, Jerry, I just want to tell you, when I said we are together doing the show, Annunciation Radio listeners were commenting at how well we do the show. For the most part, we Skype the show, and we're in different locations. You're in Cathedral City, and I'm in Arizona. We are in the same physical location when we travel to different pledge drives and different speaking events and stuff. But for the most part, we do it by Skype, and they're just amazed at how well. They said, boy, the power of technology. It feels like you guys are both in the same exact room. So thank God for technology, used, I guess, the proper way it should be used. Okay, right. Mike, you are up first in. That way to go, because you're driving through Iowa, listening on Sirius XM 130. Way to go, Mike. I love when the first ones come in real fast. Hi, Mike.
Good morning, Debbie and Jerry, and happy Lent to you.
And to you.
I'm like fully tattooed, and when people find out that I'm a Roman Catholic or I pull out my rosary or something, they freak out. Then I try to invite them to Mass, and then they say, oh, you're too strict. You do all that standing and praying. And say, well, you're going to pay for it later, not me.
Right.
Well, they just, and then they tease me all the time once they find out.
Is that right?
Give me a hard time. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what, Mike?
Lately,
I see a lot of, men and women, but, mostly men still, but a lot more women are getting tattoos. But I see a lot of religious tattoos. I was watching, remember March Madness the other day. There was one player had a beautiful, beautiful face of Jesus on his shoulder, and you see rosaries and lots of stuff for Our Lady and stuff like that. So I don't know, Mike, is that do you express your faith in that way at all?
Oh yeah, my whole back's done in the 12 stations of the crucifixion.
Oh my.
Mike, just out of curiosity, is that expensive to do?
$100 an hour where I go to.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And then
Jerry,
on
we're in the wrong
hand,
business.
Yeah, and then on my hand, I've got the IHS, the Christian mark with the cross.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I got Mother Mary on my rib cage, and I'm pretty well all done up. I've got some statements out of the Bible, like "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, no fear" on my neck. And I just love Holy Mother Church and everything about it.
That's beautiful. And the thing is, Mike, you don't have to tell people with words. It sounds like that you're Catholic. This should
like
be
a walking billboard.
pretty obvious. And
Yeah.
the thing about that is, when I've always thought when we either put a bumper sticker on our car, it should dictate a little bit kind of the way we drive, and if we wear religious jewelry or T-shirts or something, maybe behave in a certain way. And Mike, I'd be curious to know. I mean, I'm sure you're a good guy. You sound like a really good guy, but we're all human. So do you find that this kind of maybe even helps to motivate you to just live more virtuously and be a better witness to people?
Oh, yes, I try to treat people like I want to be treated. I'll give you the shirt off my back and my last dollar. Just don't lie to me, don't steal from me. I'm always like when I'm at the truck stops, I see a homeless person. I'll go buy him a hamburger or give him a few bucks. I try to put myself in that, if that was me,
Right. Mike, just out of curiosity, before we let you go, because we know you are driving, but question for you, what kind of comments do you get from people?
Oh, do I think am I a holy roller? Do I think I'm better than people?
Oh, interesting.
You're crazy for going there. It's a cult. I say, no, it's not. If you came one day, maybe you would find out the truth in yourself.
Right.
But I say to each his own. I don't push what I believe on you, so.
Right. Mike, you're pretty strong. You're a really strong Catholic. I love that.
Oh, thank you. I owe it all to the good Lord and Mother Mary, and Mother Angelica.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Well, some people might be convicted by your witness, Mike. They see some of those tattoos and they use those, so they throw those words at you like, "Oh, you're holier than thou," and this and that. And but maybe it's their own conscience or their heart, is telling them, "Hey, maybe this guy's got something that I wish I had." I don't know. That's possible in some cases. But anyway, Mike, be safe out there, will you? And don't be a stranger. Will you call us again sometime?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And be safe and God bless. I put everybody there in my rosary every night.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll take it.
Yes, absolutely. And we're praying for you too as well. So drive safely. We'll talk soon. Beautiful. Okay, who's up next is Sherry in Anchorage, Alaska. Hi, Sherry. Welcome to Take Two.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So what's your take on this topic today, Sherry?
I was going to share my my experience. I'm going to make it really short. So I met this. I am originally from the Philippines, and I met this guy, and he's American, and he started visiting me at the camp where I used to be a police officer. And I said, "Oh, okay." He seemed to be nice and coming there often. He was there on a vacation, and then I just told him, "So, would you be interested going to church? Because I am Catholic, And then he said, "Yeah, I'm Catholic too." And I said, "Shoot, perfect." So I've been married to this guy for 12 years now,
Awesome.
and I'm now living here in America. And so I think that was wonderful. I said, "Oop, one less thing, check mark, that kind of thing." And so my next story is, so I work in the Philippines. I'm surrounded by Catholics, so at work, it's always easy because when we make decisions or conflicts arise or we're dealing with a lot of challenges, I am very confident that we kind of have the same faith. There's always an assumption that, okay, we're almost all Catholics here. So the direction of any conflicts will be the same. So I've been working around with non-Catholics for the last 10 years, and it was a little bit different. So is my current boss, and this is our second company already together. I didn't know that he was Catholic, and all of a sudden, the other conversation, I just said, "Oh, you're Catholic?" "Yes." "Oh, you're Catholic?" "Yes, I'm Catholic too." And so, we've been working together for now 2 years, and I joined him on the second company that he moved to another company, and I joined him too. I follow him along, and lo and behold, this new company I work for, his boss is also Catholic, and the boss of his boss is also Catholic. So it's kind of nice that when we all talk together and do a little bit, or we kind of inject a little bit of our faith in there, and the environment is so different. It is very different. I mean, I'm not saying just because I'm Catholic. I just I feel it, that it's different when we deal with people's conflict. It's different.
Yeah,
It's
you're on
nice.
common ground. You're on common ground. Okay, so
Yeah, absolutely.
Sherry, real quick, I just have to go back because I'm still chuckling about what you said when you first met your husband.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And then you found out you guys were he was Catholic, and then you go, "Yeah, I've been married to this guy for 12 years." I thought that was hilarious the way you said.
Yeah, because I was a single parent in the Philippines. My boyfriend when I was in college, it didn't work out, and in the country where a single mother is not really accepted, I thought, oh man, I'm going to be an old maid raising my 2 girls, but that's okay. I'm just going to work hard and raise my girls. And then in 2003, this American who's traveling with her little kid, we helped him at the airport because they're kind of lost, and my buddy and I were just kind of cruising around. She's the ground commander there at the international airport. And so we provided him help, referred him here and there, where to go, what not to do, blah, blah, blah. And we gave him our card. And 3 days later, he called me. I got a phone call saying, "Hey, this is so-and-so." And I said, "Dario from where?" Because I thought he was, whoever's calling me. And he said, "Well, you helped me at the airport." I said, "Oh, yeah, I remember you, Dario. Oh, you have a phone." And his first line is, "Yeah, well, I kind of want to find a girlfriend."
Oh.
And I said, oh, okay. Well, weird. But after that, it was okay because he's really, really nice, very generous. And I thought, man, I hope he's Catholic. But I couldn't ask him a little bit in the beginning. Sure. But I said, hey, would you like to go to a church? There's this church out in Tagaytay City. It's the Adoration Convent for the Pink Sisters that I go to. And that's where I really prayed for that if I'm going to meet somebody, I kind of want these qualities. And if you can give it that person to me, then that probably person is the one. And so I asked for a sign. I had boyfriends, but we never made it there to that church. So I told him, within the time frame that we're getting to know, would you like to go to church? And then, well, there's no interruption. Nothing happened in between that stops him from going to that church, and we were able to. So I thought, ooh, second sign, good. So I thought, okay, this is more than the sign that I need. This is the guy.
Wow, Sherry, you've this is really incredible stuff, and I think it shows a lot of things. One, first of all, a seriousness on your part, to want to live your faith and surround yourself and to be with a mate, a spouse who is also shares those beliefs and your Catholic faith, and that's very, very beautiful. And I think when we take that seriously and show God that we really do want to live that out and be equally yoked, so to speak, in a marriage, for example, and so forth, God will take that. He'll honor that. And God has certainly really put a lot of great blessings in your life in that regard. So thank you, Sherry. Thanks for sharing that from Anchorage. We hope that we'll hear from you again. And please keep your radio tuned to Catholic Radio there and EWTN. I'm Jerry Usher with Debbie Georgiani. When did you discover someone you'd maybe known for a long time was Catholic, and how did that change the friendship or the relationship?
I invite people to tune in to Women of Grace Live if they want to be encouraged, if they want to be instructed, if they want to be inspired. These opportunities present themselves not only through what we have to share on the air, but through the many calls that come in through our listeners. I am always amazed at how my own faith is edified through what our listeners share with us. I'm Janet Benkovic, inviting you to join me weekday mornings at 11 Eastern for Women of Grace on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
60 on 10 with Monsignor Charles Pope.
The second commandment, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. The disclosure of a name in the ancient world belonged to the order of trust and intimacy. And so when God revealed his name to Moses, it was an extraordinary outreach to us, saying that we were called to an intimate, trusting relationship with him. And so we should always reverence this name as a great, great gift. We should obviously never use God's name to curse or to blaspheme or to berate others. That's wholly inappropriate. God's name is meant to bring blessing. And likewise, the vain use. Vain means empty. And so some of these expressions like, oh my God, or, and so on, need to be avoided as well. Vain means empty, and those are using God's name as an empty kind of expression of exasperation. And then finally, never ever to use God's name to swear an oath falsely. The second commandment, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Whether you're at home, at work, in the car, you can follow what he teaches 24 hours each day. We're EWTN Radio.
And just to let you know, I'm a returning Catholic because of EWTN. Bless you guys and keep it up.
And you're invited to visit our website too. Just log on to www.ewtn.com. That's www.ewtn.com.
We're so glad you're with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking today about when you found out that somebody you work with or in your organization or community that they are Catholic and what that did for the relationship, how it changed it, maybe a positive or even a negative. I mean, let's hope it was positive, but we're talking about all different angles today. Jerry, real quickly, tomorrow's show, you have to share with all of us a little bit deeper about what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, because I've been actually looking it over and doing some research, and it's going to be pretty fascinating about re-examining the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, well, we just heard that spot by Monsignor Charles Pope. We had hoped to get him on. He has a funeral tomorrow. So Dominican Father Thomas Petrie will be our guest. And dear friends, what we're going to talk about tomorrow is, we have these 10 commandments. And just on the surface, if you just read through them, kind of bullet list, boom, boom, boom. Okay, we kind of get it. They're big picture sorts of things. But under each of those commandments, as we hear during these spots by Monsignor Pope, these 60 on 10, there are a lot of sub-commandments, or we might say there are a lot of sins that fall under those that we might not really realize. Thou shalt not kill. Okay, that's obvious. Don't take innocent life. But it also means one must not kill oneself. It means one must not kill another's reputation. See, so there are a lot of things, Debbie, that we don't sometimes think about that actually fit underneath those commandments. So we're going to have a really informative discussion about that tomorrow.
So just in time for me to go to confession before Easter. I get it. Okay. No, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. Okay, so back to the phones, and we are going to Maria in Fort Wayne, Indiana on Redeemer Radio. Hi, Maria. Welcome to Take Two. Hi, Maria.
Hi, how are you?
Good,
Doing
Maria.
well. How are you?
Okay, I did be quick. I'm in the medical field. I'm retired now, but I remember we had, when the boss is not Catholic, some doctors or nurses prefer not to tell that they are a Catholic.
So you're talking about, I've experienced this too, Debbie. I've had doctors, in fact, I have actually tried to find a Catholic doctor. I've talked to my pastor, I've talked to my spiritual director, and unfortunately, I was very recently led to a very faithful Catholic doctor, and he didn't mind people knowing, unlike what Maria's talking about her experience. And the last two doctors I've had were Catholic, and they both have moved out of the area. Well, one left practice to go into...
They don't. and they resent it if you highlight them. Like a lint, you're going to get ashes, and they didn't. And they look at you and like you are exposing them.
Oh.
It can be very like you are walking on a tight wire. So sometimes it is better not to say, because if the boss is not, or if there are things that they have to do, they would rather not be highlighted. If it is a life issues and all that, and there are arguments about those where everybody stands, they would rather not get involved in that. And I have seen it. I went to medical school in Ireland, and I saw it there. And in this country, I also saw that some doctors, or most doctors, prefer not for anybody to know what church they go to.
Interesting. So, Maria, if I'm really trying to grasp this from a bigger picture, you're saying that in your experience, some of the doctors actually they kind of keep their profession separate from their faith. They separate it.
Yeah, but you see, yes.
That's interesting.
And I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
I could not understand because I wasn't born here. And I was getting excited, like some girls would ask, where are they having a fish fry? It is rained. Where are they having a fish fry? And then you would know that they are a Catholic, but otherwise they don't want, because they feel embarrassed among the other employees who are not Catholic.
Right.
They feel that it would be obligated to follow the Catholic values at work, prescription and all that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but what you're saying, Jerry, I'd like for you to weigh in on this, because this is really troublesome to me. I mean, that bothers me that people would feel like they have to hide or not share even some of their beliefs, because you only know a person as much as they know God. Okay, and when you don't even know where somebody stands in their belief system, it's hard to also even. I mean, I would be the doctors that I have in my life. I know their faith. I know what they believe, and that's one of the first questions I ask. I'm similar to what you said, Jerry, about seeking out.
You are lucky, because it kind of become a kind of fiction, because. What happens is that, like, supposing you have to work in a pharmacy. I worked in a pharmacy, but when I realized what it was being there, I was just covering for. It was my second job, just trying to help the poor by getting some extra money. And I realized I couldn't work in a pharmacy because the prescriptions and all that. But then some of those employees where I worked at my big job would come to pick up prescriptions. Okay, and those prescriptions like birth control pills and all that kind of thing. So they resented that. That I'm Catholic and they are Catholic and they are picking up those prescriptions. So I had to quit that job. I quit that job because I couldn't do that.
Right. Well, and this, I think we may have done a show on this general theme before, but this really lends itself to an entire program, Maria, what you're talking about, because we're seeing a lot of disheartening things in the medical industry and in the pharmaceutical industry and so forth with regard to violations of Catholic moral beliefs and teachings and so forth. So maybe we can do a show on that. But getting back to just the doctors, I think, as Debbie said, she chooses doctors because she knows that they are Catholic and they're going to apply those principles in their practice. That's what I've been searching for myself. Or Christian. But I would say, just with regard, I mean, let's face it, doctors see a lot of different patients from a lot of different religions and backgrounds and no religion and so forth. So in a sense, maybe you have to kind of understand that, they may not want to lead with their Christian faith and say,
I get it,
but I think there also comes a point where people would respect, people are going to respect you if you make it known, or if you don't even have to try to make it known. but just sort of matter of factly live it out, but not forcing it on other people, because that is an industry where, like I say, you're going to be seeing a lot of people of different faiths and so forth. It is a good opportunity, though, Debbie, I think, for a doctor, a nurse, what have you, to be a witness for the Catholic faith.
Well, yeah, and actually, my doctor, my endocrinologist that I had for many, many years was actually Jewish. He's retired now, and we shared so many things about our faiths and about how we viewed life. Now, we did view things differently, but like you said, Jerry, I think in some small way I was able to impart what we believe as Catholics, and he got a kick out of it. He used to call me Meshugana, which means crazy in Yiddish, but that's okay. It's all right, because we grew to love each other, and when he retired, we hugged and we cried because we journeyed together. But I go back to this: you only know a person as much as they know God, and actually, I learned that in life skills training. So think about that for a minute. That's very interesting. So what does that tell you? I mean, there has to come a time where you have to somewhat disclose what your belief system is. Wouldn't you say, Jerry?
Well, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, we're called, what is it? Don't put your lamp under a bushel basket. Mm-hmm. And we need to be that lamp on a hill, not in any, hey, look at me kind of way, but just in a way that, hey, look what the Lord has done. Like Mike, our earlier caller. Mike said he gets comments all the time about the tattoos and everything, and all he does is deflect the glory to God. He says it's what Jesus and Our Lady mean to me and what they've done in our lives. So, Maria, we are going to let you go. We got a lot of other calls to get to, but bless you. Like Debbie is in Toledo this week, I'll be in Fort Wayne at the end of this month for Redeemer Radio Share-a-thon. Looking forward to that, as always. 1-800-585-9396. Share an account of when you had the discovery that someone you worked with, lived nearby, close to, maybe knew for perhaps quite some time, didn't know they were Catholic, and then that revelation came to both of you. And we'd love to hear how that maybe deepened, strengthened your friendship. 1-800-585-9396 is our number.
Oh, who's up next? Are we going to Dottie next?
Yeah.
Okay, and Rachel, hold on. You've been waiting so patiently. Hold on from Omaha, Nebraska. We're going to be getting to you. But Dottie, you are up next in Colorado, listening on iHeartRadio app. Hi, Dottie.
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to tell you that back in 1958, I was in college and went out on a blind date, and we dated quite a bit then. In the meantime, I had a couple of roommates who were Catholic, and I was not. I was not raised in any particular... I was Christian, but no real attachment to any church. And I went out with this guy, and we were getting more and more serious. And I finally asked him what his faith was, and he told me he was Catholic. And I was so thrilled because I had this enchantment with the Catholic Church, and I had this idea that this is what I wanted out of my life. I was raised by a single mother, and she was wonderful, but I just didn't have that faith, and I always wanted to marry someone that I could raise a family and have them know the faith. And so when he proposed to me, I told him I would love to marry him, but only if I could join the Catholic Church.
Oh, nice.
And he, of course, he said, sure you can. Back then it was not too difficult. I went to meet with a priest a few times, and we were married. I was baptized and received my Holy Communion. Anyway, we were married for 55 and a half years, and he's now passed away. But many times he told me that I saved his life because he had fallen away from the church when I had asked him what his faith was.
Wow.
He was not going to church, and he was raised, his parents were both alcoholics, and he was raised in a Catholic orphanage in Peekskill, New York, and he had a very, very rough time. He gave the nuns a hard time, and boy, did they ever give him a hard time. And when he used to tell people that I saved him, and I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted to be a Catholic, but brought him back to the church, and his whole life from then on was a very faithful Catholic. And
wow.
And I'm still a faithful Catholic, and I just wanted to express my love for the church and my love for him.
Dottie, that's beautiful. Do we have your husband's name in our book? Because you've called before, haven't you?
No, I haven't called.
Okay,
before.
I thought you're. Okay, can we have his first name?
Yes, it's Donald.
Donald. Oh, so it was Donald and Dottie. I love it.
Yes.
Dottie, here's the thing. I think it's just so wonderful because you just shared with the world about what the sacrament of marriage is all about. And I just think that's so wonderful. And the way he said, you saved me, and then you wanted to be a Catholic. And I mean, look at that. You both journeyed in your faith together for so many years. And wow, I mean, that should. I hope that young people who are looking into marriage or being or preparing for marriage are listening to your call right now, because it's important when they realize what the true meaning, what the real purpose of the sacrament of marriage is, and what it means to journey together. I thank you for that. I really do. I think it's gonna help others.
Well, thank you. Well, I just love listening to you.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, we love when you call in. Will you check in with us every once in a while? We love that.
Sure, I would love to do that. Yes.
Thank you, Dottie. Thank you.
Thank you, Dottie. Have a blessed day. That was what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. Beautiful phone call. Thank you, Dottie. And souls are saved because God intervenes in such ways like that. So thank you for that. Rachel, we're going to get to you. I just want to mention real quickly that EWTN Radio Classics is on 24/7. It's teaching, it's devotionals, straight from the EWTN archives. Folks, EWTN has been broadcasting TV and radio and shortwave for decades now. You can imagine the archives that they have stored up. We heard Father Benedict Rochelle earlier on the program. Mother Angelica. You've got a lot of great speakers and authors and apologists. Bob and Penny Lord, God rest their souls. So please, you can check that out at EWTNradio.net. And also, you'll find that on the EWTN app. So it's EWTN Radio Classics. Great, great stuff.
You just sparked my memory, Jerry. I just have to tell you this real quickly. I get so excited. This isn't about the radio classics, but it's about EWTN television. When I got into the Holiday Inn here in Maumee, Ohio, the first thing I check is the TV stations that are on in the hotel room. And they have EWTN on the lineup.
Cool.
Real big, real bold, all on the list. It's on a printed out card. And I looked and I said, wow, EWTN made it to the hotel rooms. I just love that because it's such an evangelization tool. It made me happy. I thought I had to share that. Okay, Rachel, you got our Virtual Patience Award today in Omaha, Nebraska, listening on Spirit Catholic Radio. Hi, Rachel.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So what's cooking?
Well, I just called in today. My family and I are on the big countdown. We are entering the church this Easter. And, yes, it's very exciting. So I just wanted to say, I think one of the hardest parts, actually, about this journey here towards the end has been not so much people, finding other Catholics. That's been the fun and easy part. But running into some of our old Protestant friends or people that we even just know now and kind of slowly letting them know that we're making this huge life change. And it's severed some relationships, which has been really difficult. But it's also been just a very, it's been a difficult journey because it's a hard mix of evangelization, but also just learning to stand your ground and making this decision.
Rachel, I'm curious to know if you can share whatever you want of this. But had you been a part of a church family before? It sounds like a lot of people knew you, loved you, or probably a little bit concerned about maybe the direction you're going right now. But had you and your family established within a faith community prior to this?
I kind of like to describe my family as being nomadic Christians.
Okay.
We started at an Episcopalian church when I was very, very little. And obviously, the Episcopalian traditions are almost identical to the Catholic Church. And as a very little girl, at this time I was only about 4 or 5 years old, I just fell in love with my faith, and I loved going to church, and I loved all the traditions that we had, and even as just a super young child, I totally could appreciate everything that was going on. And unfortunately, our church lost its funding, and it just tragically closed. And after that, a lot of my family just completely stopped going to church. Our family really struggled to ever find a place that felt like home. And my whole life, I remember crying with my mom many, many times about just grieving the fact that we didn't have a faith community like so many of the people around us. And throughout this entire time, I am a ballerina, and I grew up dancing next to a very, very dear family that is just a wonderful group of Catholics, and they're very devout and just have a super large, loving family. And we would sit backstage before our ballet rehearsals, and we would debate whether Catholicism or Protestantism was correct. And we'd bring our Bibles, and they'd try and tell me about why I couldn't just rely on Scripture, and I'd try and tell them why they were, doing idolatry and worshiping all the wrong things. And I suppose they won out.
It seems that way. Or God won out.
Yeah. Rachel, I just have to say happy early welcome home. That's first off, and we'll be celebrating with you.
Coming right up.
It's coming right up. That's right. We'll be celebrating with you in spirit. We will all be remembering you and rejoicing with you as you come into the church and into the family. But one thing I just wanted to share. I'm sure you know this already, but when you said we've severed some relationships, in my opinion, those relationships aren't severed forever. Those folks are they're watching. They're watching. They're sitting back, and they're waiting to see if what you have embraced is going to take hold and is for real. That's what they're doing. And I think
I agree.
Yeah, and it puts you in a really great position. It puts you in a position to just absolutely live and celebrate the faith. And that will just draw them in. And if it doesn't draw them in on this earth, it'll draw them in later. God, it's in God's time. So you're in an awesome position, I believe anyway, with those friends or family members or whoever it may be that kind of have distanced themselves. So I look at it as a positive. I always have. It's a good thing when they back away a little, because it just allows them time, and it allows you the time to show the faith. So I just had to share that with you. It's kind of exciting. But one other thing. So how many are coming in? Just you or your whole family?
Well, when I originally signed up for I'm moving to Kansas next year. And so I told my mom that, if I was going to do RCIA, I really wanted to do it while I was still living in Omaha and still living with my parents. Because I wanted them to see what I was going through, but I also wanted them to be a part of it. At first, they really didn't agree with what I was doing, and my mom actually only agreed to come to RCIA because she was planning on proving the priest morally wrong and theologically wrong. And she came to about 2 classes, and then invited my aunt, and then invited my grandparents, and then invited my dad. And basically everyone's coming in. My aunt and my dad need a little bit more time, and I respect that, and I'm praying for them, and I'm sure they'll all work in God's time. But it will be myself and my mother and my little sister and my grandma and my grandpa are coming in. So.
Wow. Well, Rachel, as you're talking, and you and Debbie were chatting there for a minute, I'm just thinking that, for a cradle, I think it's different. When you're going to be encountering a lot more people as you go forward. When you are finally Catholic, they're finding out that you're in the process of becoming Catholic. But today's show, I didn't know you're a Catholic. When you finally are, and then you have people say that to you, I think because of this search process, and you're digging deep and you're drilling down, and the purpose of RCIA is to make sure that you're certain this is what you want to do. You're going to be so well equipped to be able to gently and charitably explain to anybody who asks, not only asks, but even if you get some more of these challenging, like, boy, you made a mistake or whatever, you're going to be able to say no, and here's why. And so I know you realize that, Rachel. You're being given just a huge gift right now, and I'm sure you're very grateful for that.
Oh, definitely. Easter can't come soon enough. I'm trying very hard to be patient, but this last stretch of Lent has been really, really difficult. I'm just kind of starving for the Eucharist right now.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So.
Wow. That's awesome.
Would that we all starved for the Eucharist like that. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for sharing that last comment. That really, I'll be going to Mass today. I just sometimes, get so distracted and caught up in so many other things and receive the Eucharist. And I know what it is, and I love it, and I appreciate it. But boy, to have that zeal
fire
and that
burn.
hunger
Yep.
that Rachel has,
Yep.
it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Rachel, you're precious, and keep us posted on your journey with your entire family. And thank you for taking the time to call in. You helped others, and that's what Take Two is all about. We help each other. We lock arms. We do this together. It's a peer ministry, and we hopefully walk away from this hour a little bit changed, a little bit closer to God. That's what we're striving to do here on Take Two. And I have to tell you, being in Ohio and hearing from our Take Two listeners, I think it's happening. I think we're really making, when I say we, all of us together, we're making an impact on each other, and we're letting each other grow and just be free. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to be a part of, Jerry. I can't stress it enough.
Yeah, it is. Rachel, thank you so much. Have a beautiful and blessed day, and Debbie will wish everybody that here at the end of the program. We're just getting set to wind things down. Just wanted to mention, Debbie, our good friend Helen in Idaho. Helen, love to hear from you. She says, hi, Jerry and Debbie. I work as a hostess at a resort working with young people, servers and cooks, very professional, between 20 and 35 years old. Even though they are influenced heavily by the secular culture, I'm finding most of them were raised in some kind of Christian religion, but not practicing any religion. I was pleased last night. One of the young men and I talked about how women should be women and men should be men, how each has their special complementary gifts. It's a pleasure to work with these young people, and I do have a bit of influence on them, but I do it more through example. Love the show, Helen in Idaho. Thanks, Helen.
Wow. I love when we hear from Helen. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. This is going to, this was a great show, but tomorrow, talking about re-examining the 10 Commandments. I am so looking forward to it, Jerry.
So am I. Father Thomas Petrie, a Dominican priest, will be with us. And Charlie, thank you for your email. I wish we were going to have time to read that on the air, but great story. He found out his tax preparer is a Catholic. Thanks, Charlie.
Wow.
So until tomorrow.
Have a beautiful and blessed day.